G'day, Terry Gordon from H&T Gordon Planes. This video today will be about sharpening the nicker blade in a Dado plane. So, if you have chipped the edge, for instance, and you just want to take grind a small amount off before you rehone it, use a texture and mark where you've got to hone it back to, or grind it back to. Then you can take the blade out. Okay, now I've got my blade out, I'm going to grind back to my mark. A 12-inch disc sander is quite good for this. Just bring it straight in. If necessary, let it cool, or dip it in some water. Right. And that way you're going to get it nice and square and even. Both legs will be square and even. Now we'll go across to the grinder. Okay, to re-grind the blade on the inside, on the outside, if it's already been made, you don't touch the outside of this blade. Right? But to re-grind the inside, this is a thin cut-off wheel on a grinder. Mounted on a grinder, so you need the thickness of the blade to get inside. Just move my hand back out of the way a bit there. Rotate it around. As that side gets hot, rotate to the other side. Alright, and just keep working it backwards and forwards. And you can see you start to bring it down. Okay, what we have here is just a normal drill press with a wasp sander attached, which attaches to the column of the pedestal drill. Then we have a just a normal chuck holding a mandrel, and you can put different size one of these in for this size work, or this sharpening these blades. That size is quite good. This is just a 180 grit piece of or belt sander, right, which is your standard belt, handheld belt sander, and basically we're going to use that to work around the edges to sharpen this blade. Okay, switch our drill press on, and basically I just rotate. Put the gap in between the two legs, up in between the belt. And this 180 grit belt, although it's worn out, or getting close to being worn out, it still cuts the metal pretty quickly. And you just rotate it around till you get a nice, even, round surface there. Getting pretty close there. Then do the other side. Like you can see, rotate it wherever necessary, usually from about there to about there. And that's a pretty nice shape. Now we'll change belts. So that was 180 grit, and all these belts are being used quite a bit for this job, so they're getting quite worn out, but it still works nicely. This is a 400 grit. The same process, just refining your sharpening. Same on the other leg. And then for the final finish I use, I think this is about 800 or 1000 grit, and you do the final polish there. Now if you've got a blade that's already in the plane, the outside will already be polished. But what I'm going to show you is an alternative method. If you don't have a wasp sander, then there is another way of just honing on the inside of the blade. But the wasp sander here can be bought online, and if you're going to do a lot of this, or it's a great tool also for sharpening hollows and rounds. Okay, the alternative, if you don't have the wasp sander, this is just a thin piece of wood with different grits of sandpaper glued either side. If you're just touching up your blade in use, this is 600 grit and the other side is 1200 grit. And you'll find all you have to do is rotate it there on this, maintaining the angle that you ground it at. Now if it needs a lot of work, then you'll probably have to change this to something like 180 or 240 grit to take more material off. At the end of the day, that angle in there needs to be about 30 degrees like a normal plane blade, no more than 30 degrees. And yeah, you hone away just like that. Remembering what I said, the outside, if you already have one of these planes, the outside is a set width and it is already polished. You never touch the outside of this blade. Right, but you just keep honing away until you get that sharp, go to your finer grit for finishing, and that's essentially how you do it. But you do have to go through different grits if you need to take more off the bevel. Alright, and then the other thing, just check that the leg, so this leg and that leg remain the same by putting a square on the top of your thing to check for squareness, or that they're the same length. Once you've done that, it'll be a nice sharp blade. It can then just be put back into your tool. Simply push down there and start winding. That puts it back into your plane. Hope that helps you with your sharpening of your Dado nicker blade.